Just a few short years ago, Mike Leach was producing some big-time players at the quarterback position. Luke Falk was a star, Gardner Minshew became an NFL quarterback, and Anthony Gordon set the college football world on fire with his numbers. The Cougars had 3 straight quarterbacks who are insane, but the subject of today's video was supposed to be the next one, and he was the most highly touted one coming out of high school. He broke nearly every record in the state of Utah, was viewed as someone who would fit perfectly in Mike Leach's system, and was the most highly anticipated quarterback recruit to come to Pullman, Washington in years. But it didn't exactly work out for him. As of now, he is in the transfer portal, he barely ever played while he was there, and he'll be called one of the biggest busts in program history. But who is he, what went wrong, and why did he end up becoming a bust? Well, in today's video, we're going to take a look at the rise of his career, his time at Washington State, what went wrong, and what I think is going to happen to him next. But right before we get into it, nearly 80% of you guys are not subscribed, and we are now on the road to 100K, so quickly be sure to hit that subscribe button, smash that like button for the algorithm, and turn on post notifications so you never miss when I upload. Now, let's get started. So you're probably wondering who the subject of today's video is, and it is none other than Washington State quarterback Cammon Cooper. But in order to understand what went wrong for Cooper, we need to go back in time. Everyone remembers Luke Falk. He was a star for Washington State, but you probably didn't know that he is from the state of Utah as well. He eventually became a walk-on quarterback for the Cougars, won the locker room over, and became a superstar for Mike Leach. Little did people know, the next big thing for Cougars football was also coming out of Utah. Cammon Cooper obviously loved football from a young age, just like pretty much every player I talk about. He eventually took a liking to the quarterback spot and began training when he was in middle school. He eventually got to high school and he would make his first start his freshman year, and it came against a school known as American Fork. This game happened in October, and from that moment on, people knew he was going to be special. He went on to start at quarterback for the next year, but his team would miss the playoffs during his first season behind center. But Cammon took it very seriously and started to work really hard. He said, quote, "It would have been nice to have a little more success early on in my career, but I feel like it all really paid off, and I got all that I can really do done." Cammon could obviously sling the rock, and he once had a game where he completed 45 of 74 pass attempts for 648 yards and 10 touchdowns. In that same game, he played against a current Alabama star by the name of Cameron Latu, and he had this to say, quote, "I'd say he's the best quarterback in the nation. All I wanted was a sack on him, and I got one, which I was pretty happy about, but they destroyed us. He's an amazing quarterback. I'm glad I'm close with him. He's going to do great things at Washington State. He's just so calm when he's in the pocket, and I just feel like he trusts his line to protect him, and he's not really worried about getting sacked. He's just worried about finding a receiver and making plays." At this point, Cooper had become a big deal in the recruiting scene, but he would choose a school before his senior year, and we all know what it was. He eventually committed to Washington State in May over offers from more than a dozen programs. This included Tennessee, Georgia, Ole Miss, North Carolina, Louisville, and even Arizona State. He said, quote, "I wanted to commit early to focus on my senior year, and it's paid off. I think it was a good decision. From the first day, the coaches at Washington State told me I was the #1 guy they wanted. I felt like a high priority talking to other schools too, but I just had the best feelings with Washington State." He was a talented player. He had thrown for over 4,000 yards, 38 touchdowns, and 13 picks as a junior, and Luke Falk would eventually take Cammon under his wing. He said, quote, "Luke told me there's a transition period with Coach Leach because everyone always sees him as a quirky guy, but after that awkward period, your relationship takes off and your game takes off." Luke was basically saying if he trusts the coaching staff and gets along with him, he's going to be the next big thing. At this time, still had a senior year to play, and he broke records and won a state title, but remained the same person. His mother said, quote, "Despite all the publicity or hoopla around him, he's still the most down-to-earth kid you'll ever meet. You have teachers at high school or coaches at high school that will come up to me and tell me he's the same good kid walking down the hallway and saying hi to everyone. This hasn't changed him, and it hasn't gotten to his head." At one point during his high school career, it was kind of weird as another high school actually opened up down the street, but Cammon decided to stay put at his high school, and they actually beat that rival high school in the state title game, which I found was pretty cool. Cammon was insane and became a legend in the state of Utah. He had claimed a state record of 118 passing touchdowns, 876 completions, and also set records in both completions, touchdowns, and yards in a season. Cammon was insane, but he would skip out on his last semester of high school as he would enroll early at Washington State, and he knew that college would be his real legacy. His mom said, quote, "I know it means a lot to him with all these awards, but at the same time, he's just still pretty grounded, and he has a lot of goals ahead of him. He is just grateful for everything that's happened at Lehigh High School, and it will always mean so much to him. According to 24/7 Sports, Cooper was the number 15 pro-style quarterback, a 4-star recruit, and the 363rd best player in the class of 2018. He's one of the best quarterback recruits in Washington State football history and had a ton of hype. So what happened? Going into 2018, the Cougars were obviously under head coach Mike Leach, and they had a quarterback by the name of Gardner Minshew. He was not well known around college football to most people, but he would quickly assert himself and become one of the star players of the 2018 season. Minshew would throw for nearly 5,000 yards, 38 touchdowns, and only 9 picks, while he led Washington State to an 11-2 record with a 7-2 mark in the Pac-12 and a win over Iowa State in the Alamo Bowl. Cooper got an opportunity to sit on the bench and learn, so in 2019, he was going to have a chance to battle it out for the starting job. Some thought he could win it, but then we had another player come in. His name was Anthony Gordon, and he eventually won the starting job. He ended up throwing for 5,579 yards, 48 touchdowns, and 15 picks. Gordon became one of the top quarterbacks in the country, but he only led the Cougars to a 6-7 record. Now, after 2 years, Cooper was finally going to have a real opportunity to win the job. Cooper would battle it out with a guy by the name of Gunnar Cruz and a true freshman named Jaden DeLaura. DeLaura was a 3-star recruit coming out of the state of Hawaii, and while he was expected to do big things during his career, no one thought he would play this early. There'd be a 3-way quarterback battle, but eventually, the true freshman was named the starting quarterback. One thing I will admit is maybe there was some bias there. Nick Rolovich was the new head coach for Washington State, and he had literally just come over from Hawaii, so this may have been what screwed Cooper over, the new coaching staff. Obviously, it was a weird year in the Pac-12, so no one really got an opportunity to play, but Cooper ended up going 11 of 16 for 99 yards without a touchdown or an interception. It was obviously unbelievably disappointing, as in year 3 he still had not made an impact, but he would come back in 2021 to try and win the starting job. How did it end up going? Well, it didn't go well. Jaden DeLaura was once again the starter this year, and Cooper went 4 of 7 for 44 yards and 1 interception. In his 4-year Cougar career, he only completed 15 passes for 143 yards and never registered a single touchdown. Because of that, his time in a Cougar uniform was going to be done, and he decided to enter his name in the transfer portal a couple weeks ago. So what went wrong for Cooper? Well, to be honest, I think there are 2 reasons. A, the talent in front of him, and B, the new coaching staff. While he was there, both Gardner Minshew and Anthony Gordon were there, and those guys both were near the top of the NCAA in passing yards, and I'm sure Cooper would have gotten that opportunity if he could have played in the air raid style offense with the coach that wanted him. That leads me to my second point. Nick Rolovich came in, favored his own quarterback with a different style, and it left Cooper in the dust. Cooper was an air raid passing guy, and while Rolovich did like to pass the ball, it didn't exactly favor Cooper's strengths, and Rolovich didn't even want him coming out of high school, so it just never made sense for Cooper. He missed out on an opportunity because of the guys in front of him and the new coach, and I really hope he goes and finds a school that appreciates him and where he can show his talent. To be honest, I think he'll have to go down a level, as I don't think he'll have an opportunity to start in a Power 5 school right away, but I could see him going to a lower level Mountain West school, tearing it up, and maybe saving his career. Overall though, I think Cooper's an extremely talented player. He had a great high school career, and I wish it would have worked out for him at Washington State. But what do you guys think? If you're a Washington State fan, what went wrong for Cammon Cooper? Who's a player I could take a look at in my next video? And what topic or suggestion do you have for my next video? Be sure to let me know down in the comment section. Smash that like button if you want to support today's video. Subscribe if you're new, and check out all my other videos on the end screen. I hope to see you guys again soon, but until next time, peace.